And as always, this time of the week, we have Dr. Joe Congini. He is a physician of sports medicine at Akron Children's Hospital. Good morning, Dr. Joe.
Hi, Gene. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. So it's spring, and I understand this is the time of year when you guys see a lot of stress injuries from sports.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Gene. I mean, a lot of people in our temperature and our climate have been cooped up, and there isn't as much winter sport going on, and then everybody kind of gets outside when we get the chance. We've had a lot of rain, but we get the chance to get outside, and we have a lot of spring sports going on, and it is the time of year where we see a lot of stress fractures. We've talked about those through the years quite a bit, but there's a new tool that I wanted to introduce this morning that we're using at sports medicine down at Akron Children's that I wanted to briefly introduce to you this morning. It's really helpful for these stress injuries. So at this time of year, Gene, a lot of kids who get out and start running and start playing a lot, they get stress fractures. Typically, a couple very common areas are in the shin bone and in the feet, and they will get these micro fractures or hairline fractures, and they have pain when they run, and we have to take them off for periods of time and other things. But one of the tools that in our new Sports Health Center at the University of Akron is a tool that we have called an anti-gravity treadmill or a zero-gravity treadmill. You may or may not have heard of these, but they're the rage kind of in higher-level athletes. And in our center, we really have a state-of-the-art center at the University of Akron that's been open now for about a year and a half. And for the athletes at the University of Akron, but we're actually using it for a lot of our high school athletes too. And so this treadmill is getting full-time use this time of year. And a couple things about it. The air pressure technology that they use reduces the amount of gravitational force on the body, and it allows athletes to exercise and rehabilitate without the usual strain on the joints and the muscles. So perfect for stress fractures. Some people are using it for post-op of things like labral tears and things like that. So a few things that it does that we really love. Number one, it improves the mobility and reduces the pain early on. So our athletes are able to start quickly on their rehab. And in starting quickly, a second thing that it does is obviously faster recovery times. And so you could imagine that makes our athletes happy if they are able to get back to their sport faster. And so it increases, gets them back to playing sooner, and that's an important point. It also improves the balance and does a lot of balance work. And so one of the functions that we really push a lot for in any of our lower extremity injuries in the legs is balance work. And this automatically, by working on the anti-gravity treadmills, they get a lot of good balance work, and that helps a lot. So those are a few of the things. One of the other things is that a lot of our athletes, when they're injured, they try to get back too soon, they run with poor form, and then they get hurt somewhere else, or they keep re-injuring themselves. And on the anti-gravity treadmills, they're able to maintain their typical mechanics of how they normally run. So they're not changing their mechanics, and that has been a real advantage for these treadmills that have been out for several years, but this is the first time we've had one, and really, really excited about the opportunity to send our athletes over to the University of Akron for this type of rehab. One more thing I really like about it, it was inspired by technology from NASA. One of my son-in-laws works at NASA, and they looked at the technology and actually in the development of these about 10 years ago. So the real question for people, some people use it not just for rehab but for training, is does it improve performance? That hasn't been proven yet. But definitely in the rehab world for these overuse injuries, overstress injuries, and even some post-op injuries, these treadmills are really a game changer and really a big help for us.
That sounds great. So really, really interesting. I had never heard of these kind of treadmills before. So thanks for sharing that with us. Dr. Joe Congini